What is going on, YouTube? This is Jim, back with another video, and today we are taking a look at the contents and the lore behind the Halo Legendary Crate Season 3, Crate number 1. This whole crate, this whole season is going to focus on the Fall of Reach, specifically the Noble Team, and each crate will be themed around a particular Spartan of Noble Team. Now those are the guys you played with in the video game, Halo Reach. We're going to be talking about the leader, Carter A259. Carter A259 was a Spartan III. Now, why is that important? Well, you got to think about where we were in the time of Halo Reach. The Human Covenant War was starting to pick up, and while Spartan IIs did exist, and while they were fast and furious, they could not be created fast enough. Although you had John and Frederick and the blue team out there just crushing people, there just weren't enough Spartan IIs to turn the tide of war fast enough. And due to some investigative journalism, which is featured prominently in a podcast called Hunt the Truth, which is really good, I highly recommend you check it out, it became exposed, the Spartan II program actually became exposed because at the time the Spartan II program was supposed to be this hidden thing that nobody knew about. The government was stealing children and forcing them to become super soldiers really against their will because, you know, a 5-year-old really doesn't have much say in their life. They were replaced with crappy flash clones of themselves who deteriorated almost instantly. So you had all these instances of children dying, the parents mourned and moved on with their lives, but in reality their children were sent to a secret military base and given augmentation, and they ultimately became what we know as Spartan IIs. Well, at this time in the war, there's not enough time to do that trickery. The cover has been blown. Everybody knows that Spartan IIs exist, that they are actually humans with augmentation. They've become national and global, you know, really universal heroes at this point. So the UNSC opens up the Spartan III program. And the Spartan III program was, I'm going to say volunteer, but not really. Most of it was still young children, ages 4, 5, or 6, that were either orphans or basically sold by their parents to the government. The reason why I tell you guys all this is because Carter, at this point in time, is actually one of the last remaining Spartan IIIs. A lot of the Spartan IIIs were what we would call a stopgap Spartan. They were sent en masse to major high target installations, basically on suicide missions. A lot of the companies have 100% mortality rates. In other words, they did not make it back. So the government, in fear of losing this war, took these children, ages 4, 5, and 6, injected them with superhero stuff. Within 2 or 3 years, 3, 4 years, whatever, sent them out into war basically to die, to buy more time for humanity. Now, Carter was a little bit older. He was actually 11 years old at the time that he entered into the program. And because of his age and somewhat of his maturity, he actually survived a lot of these suicide missions and ultimately works his way up to the rank of a commander, which is the second highest rank of any Spartan ever, which is actually really, really cool. And he ultimately becomes the leader of the Noble Team and goes on to great things in the Fall of Reach and you know, all the missions leading up to that, and then obviously the Reach video game / the Fall of Reach, where he meets his demise with most everybody else. They were trained by Kurt 51 in the Onyx military base, and that is a really good book. If you haven't read The Ghosts of Onyx and you're curious about a little bit more of the Spartan III, how that program came to be and everything, check that book out. But if you don't want to do that, just take my word for it that these were young kids put into a very hard situation. That's what makes Carter have my admiration, that he was able to fight through all that, work his way up into prominent missions, and have one of the most prominent fire teams to date. He wears the Mark V Mjolnir Commando armor. So if you're a fan of Halo 5, like I am, you can actually get the armor that he wears in the game, and you can actually have it. You may have heard the name before. He was also the star of the live action trailer back in the day when they were advertising the game. They had a campaign that they called the Birth of the Spartan trailer. And you could see that there is a guy walking around with a shaved head, and that is actually Carter. Now, we know Carter with a full buzz cut from the game. That's where most people recognize him, but that's where he got his start. And that trailer's a little misleading because he was 11 years old at the time. That one makes it look like he's a young man, maybe in his early 20, like late teens, early 20-year-old kind of thing. But he was 11. Anyways, let's take a look at the pose now that you kind of know the man behind the helmet. There he is, rocking out in his awesome armor. He's got one foot up on the rock, leaning forward, ready to take charge, ready to give out orders, take back reach, all that great stuff. He's rocking a DMR under his right arm. That is the designated marksman rifle. That is his signature weapon in the game. If you actually, little fun fact, if you go back and play Reach and look at it in theater mode, because I know a lot of people like to take selfies now, and a lot of games have this built-in camera system, well, Halo Reach has it too, and if you go back in theater mode and look, you will actually see that he's always carrying a DMR, and the ammo counter always reads at lucky number 7. How cool is that? So that's just kind of a neat little fun fact about him. He is the leader of the, as I mentioned, he's a leader of the Noble team, and in the game you recognize him with a buzz cut, but again in the trailer he had the bald shaved head. Along with this pose, this chibi figure, which I really like, you're going to get the Carter A259 visor sunglasses, which match his visor. They're blue and they got the gold sheen on them. That's kind of neat. You're also going to get the UNSC multi-tool, which has the UNSC logo. It's got a flashlight in it. That's the first multi-tool actually I've ever had with a flashlight. That's kind of neat. And then the data drop. Now, the data drops in the past have been hit and miss. They usually came with some sort of script between two characters talking. And sometimes it made sense, sometimes it didn't. What they're doing with the data drop in Season 3 is that they're going to focus on a unique piece of armor or a unique weapon. In this case, it's actually the Pelican, which is the vehicle you fly around with. And I really like that because not a lot of attention is given to the arms and armament. We always think of Halo as this really cool game where you run around with a cool machine gun and shoot people, but there's a lot of logistics that goes into war. One of them is how you're going to get these giant guys that are, upwards 9-10 feet tall in their armor, weighing close to half a ton. How are you going to get them on the battlefield? Well, the Pelican actually is the one that did all the heavy lifting, and the data drop and the pin obviously go hand in hand. I think this is going to be a really cool set. I'm really curious to see if the remainder of the Halo Legendary crates for Season 3 focus on ornaments with a pin to match it. In the past, we've got pins of weapons, or we've got pins of various logos. This actually is a really nice set, and I feel like the crate really hit its stride here. Looking at everything as a whole, including that really cool, authentic, athletic t-shirt, property of UNSC Spartan Program athletic department. I think this is actually a really solid crate. Everything in it is really themed towards Carter or towards the Pelican. It really tells a nice story of Reach and a celebration of the Noble team under Carter's leadership. I gave you guys a lot of deep dive on the lore behind who Carter was. That's really evident, and to me, that's why they picked him to start off the crate, because he is a really cool story just in terms of Spartan history, just kind of who he was and how he came to be. Really nice pose. I like it. I like the base. I like the attention to detail. They did a really good job with the paint and the plastic. It feels really hefty in your hand. And I think this is a home run crate. So if you do not yet have the Halo Legendary crate, I think there's still time to pick up this one. This one's the first one, known as Leadership. I don't think they've yet announced the next one. They usually tease the figure, but I won't do a video on that. The next time you'll hear from me, at least specifically talking about Halo crates, is when I get the next one. They've been running a little bit late. We're supposed to get them every other month. It seems like they're slipping a little bit more. They seem to be having a lot of production problems or something. I'm not really sure, but these are definitely worth the wait. If you're a fan of Halo, if you're a fan of Reach, which is definitely, I think, one of the more iconic Halo games, this is definitely a crate you want to check out. You're going to get the full set of the Spartans. You're going to get some really cool data drops, some really cool shirts, and some other little, peripherals like the sunglasses and the multi-tool, which it's neat to have around. I can't wear the glasses because I normally wear glasses, so I gave these to my wife, but I'll definitely keep the glass case, and I think that's really, really cool. So hope you guys enjoyed this hybrid look at the Halo crate with the lore and the background. If you like what you saw and you made it this far, leave me a comment below. Let me know what you thought. This is kind of a new experiment for me. Like I said, I'm trying to break outside the mold of just the standard unboxing. I want to inject some of that really rich lore that I've spent so long reading and studying and admiring into this, and I hope you guys found the story of Carter and the Spartan 3s useful. So like I said, rate it, thumbs up, thumbs down, let me know what you guys think. I will be back again in another official capacity when I get the next crate, but until then, thank you guys so much for watching, and until next time, I will see you guys on the other side.